Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to look at turning this into a bunch of database tables and being able to add, edit, hang on, where is it? Over here. We're going to be able to do create, read, update and delete this data in a database. Okay, so the first thing we've got to do is make sure your system's up and running. Now I've already gone through on a previous video setting up XAMPP, okay, and at the moment the index file has just that. So from here we're now going to play with phpMyAdmin. phpMyAdmin, like so. Log on with the root as the username and the password that you supplied to it. We just wait for it to load. Excellent. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a user with the security. We're going to create the database. So I'll start off with a user. I'm going to add a user. I'm going to create a user called advweb. My host is localhost. My password is password. Okay. Now I'm going to have all of these privileges except for the admin one, so I'll just take those off. I'm happy with 0 for that. Let me go add user. Excellent, so there we go. Now I'm going to create a database. This database I'm going to call student records. Hit the create button. Excellent, so down here click on student records. It should give me no tables loaded up at all because I haven't made any. Okay, so we're going to start off by creating a new table called students. Okay, and we're going to have 3 columns. Okay, so if you take a look at this, I'm basically going to store the student name in this student. I'm going to have first name, last name and a user ID so I can reference it. Let's put that out of the way again. Hit go. So my first one will be UID, can stand for unique ID, or you just put in ID. I'm going to want it as the primary key and I'm going to auto increment it. I'm going to have first name, which will be a varchar of 100 characters long. It doesn't have to be 100 characters, it's just that's taking into consideration really big names. And same for the last name, okay? Normally you would probably only do these maybe up to 50, 40 or 50, okay? But I've got plenty of space on my hard drive, so it's all good. So I'll hit save here. Okay, so this guy should then come up. Alright, so there's my students with nothing in it. Now, I'm now going to add subject one, because if you look at the data here, I've got math subjects, I've got science subjects, and I've got English subjects. Okay? So I will create a table. I'll have my UID again, so that's my primary auto incrementing, and I will have subject name. And that is a varchar, and we'll just use 40 characters on that. Missing value in form. Oh, the name does help. So this is subjects. Okay, save. There we go, students and subjects. And what I will do now is I'll create one more table that's going to link my students with their subjects and with their mark as well. Now, I shall call this marks. See, I remember this time. I'll have a UID, auto incrementing primary key. I will have my student ID here. I will have my subject ID here, and then I will have my percentage, and that only has to be 3 characters long. Okay, so 3 characters long is the same as 0 through to 999. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3 characters long. Excellent, so I'll save that. Awesome. So these are the 3 tables that I'm going to use. So I'm happy with my background database. So now it's time to start coding. So we'll load this guy up, clear that out. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to make a few more pages. So I'm going to have a new add.php, a edit.php. I will have, so to add edit, I'll have a update. Oh no, that's an edit. I'll have a read.php. Could also be a view, and I will have, my last one will be a delete. Delete.php. Excellent. So let's go into the add one. In here I want links to each of these. Okay, and I'll just put in a simple break at the end of it. Now, even though my break's going the wrong way. That wasn't. That's right. Let's change my doc type to HTML5. Boink. All nice and easy. Assets add, edit, read, delete. Right. Okay. Read, update, and delete. So that should actually be create. So there's our CRUD, C.R.U.D. in there. So this one here is read, and that is edit, that is delete. So we'll just save that now, jump into my browser, just take this straight to localhost, create, read, edit, update, delete. Excellent. Okay, so now in my add, I need to have the code in there for connecting to the database. Now at this point in time, I'll just do it a simple way, and I'll just copy and paste it in there. So I can have my PHP above my doc type, and this is my database connectivity. Okay, so this is the local host, so the server knows where to look. That's the password, the user that I made, student record. I'll just jump back into here and check that that's what I called it. Student records, right? So you've got to always check. So that's student records. Okay. The reason why I have it like this is for functions later on. Excellent. Database student record. Awesome. Cool. So that's that. Now what I'll do is I'll save that. I'll go back to here, and then I'll click on my create. Excellent. So it didn't crash on me. That's a good sign. That normally means that the connection to the database is working. So now that I've done that, inside here I'm going to want to I'll reset my, there it is, reset current workspace. Let's hide the styles. Okay, I'm going to put in a form on add. Okay, so I will have a label, and I will have a text box, and I will need a submit button, and I need 2 of these. Okay, so this will be F name, L name, we'll go, this is first name, last name, and just above that let's put in enter student details. So if we save that, come back to here, there we go. So here's enter student details. This is the form we've just made. Now that form, though made, okay, I'll go back a level, it's not fully complete yet, mainly because I didn't tell it what the action was. So here I'm going to put in a process PHP, and I should also have a way back. We'll go index.php. keep that in there. And throw in another line break. Awesome. So now if I go back to here, create, so I can now just go back. It doesn't have to look pretty for this. Now, we've got to make a brand new page. This one here, we'll just save it quickly. So we save as process.php. Okay. We'll take that because we're going to need to access the database. Okay. And we also now want to start adding some stuff. So what I want to do is I want to create this variable, fname, assigned underscore post, fname, and then we'll go $, lname equals $ underscore post, lname. So that's our first name and our last name that we've just got up here. Now I'm going to display it down on the page. I will grab this bit of code. Okay, just so we can see it. So notice how I can bounce in and out of the PHP stuff all the time. That's a good thing. So I'm going to say $name is assigned, so $fname dot space dot $lname, and then I'm just going to echo out $name. Okay. Now the reason why I haven't put any database information in first is I just want to make sure that when I hit the submit button, it turns up. Excellent. So now we'll jump back to there. Now, so we've got the name popping up, which is excellent. So what we'll do is we will now put in the insert code, which goes in here. Okay. So this is the query. This is my SQL query. Let me just check that it's students that I put it into. So we're going to student records. Into students. Okay, if I browse, there's nothing in there. First name, last name, UID. UID, first name, last name. That'll be the first name, and that'll be the last name. Excellent. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to echo out. I'll echo out the query. And I'll echo out the result. And we'll just put some spacing in there as well. And we'll just toss that above it. Actually, instead of doing that, let's change it to a H. Alright, so we'll save that. So now, what should happen is, I hit the, on this page here, I fill out the form, I hit the submit button, we jump into this page here, I collect the information I've posted, I then see the name, I then run these queries, and the information should go into the database, and I should see something come up here. So let's go back to here, to our index page. So I want to create. So we go Fred, Durf, submit. Okay, so Fred Durf's here, insert into students. Alright, so that's the query we ran. Notice how I've got the number 1 popping up. 1 normally means it was successful. So now if I come into here and browse, so even though that has a red X on it, if I browse, my table should come up and tell me, notice how I've got Fred and lname? That's a mistake. Okay? Lname, that's not what I said, it should have been Durf. So that means I've forgotten a $. Right about there. Okay? It happens. So we save that. Jump back in, go back to index. Always reload all the pages when you come through. So now we'll put in, let's put in John Smith. Submit. Let's have a look. John Smith, 1. Check the database. We'll hit the, what am I looking for? Show button, and there we go, John Smith. Excellent. So now we've got stuff in the database. So that's good. Now, let's have a look at actually viewing stuff out of the database. So I'm going to need my database connectivity code here. So I'll jump in a read. I'll paste that here. I will add my linking index code into my body. Excellent. And now I'll put in some new PHP into here. So what I will do to save time is, here's some code I prepared earlier. Well, I wrote. We'll check to see whether or not it works. Okay, so what this does is this creates this is a select everything. So star means everything from students. Puts it into here. Now what this does is it searches via these names, UID, first name, last name. Okay, so I do all that, and now it should echo out every time I hit it. So let's save. Jump back to here. So I'll go back to my index. Now if I hit read, okay, couple of problems, but notice the names have come out. Undefined index, F name, L name on lines 9 and 10. So that's because nothing was posted. So I can delete that out. That's not part of what I need. So let's save that. So once again, look at this. This is a while loop. It will loop all the time until it gets to the end of the database table. So I've saved it, yep. So if I go back to my index, I create, we'll now put in a Scott Summers, hit submit. Okay, he's gone in, hit index, I'll now read it. There we go, Scott Summers, he's now listed. Excellent. Now, what we have to do is we now do our, let's take this again, we'll copy that. Let's just take from here. Okay, so now we're going to do our edit. Edit's a little bit different. Okay, the main reason it's different is that you actually need to pull the information out of it first. Okay, so let's see how we do this. We call list stuff first. So we know how to list stuff, so we pull that. Okay, so this is going to list our students one after another. Now to edit someone, I'm going to use their UID. Okay, so in here I'm going to make a brand new link. I'm going to say ahref equals ed.php, and we'll go edit. We'll close that off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the get functionality. So what I'm going to say here is going to add into UID equals single quote dot dot single quote, and inside here I want $UID. Okay, so I'm going to save that, jump into here, hit the update. Excellent. So notice now it's made a brand new edit link on the end of each of these names. Now down in the bottom corner, bottom left hand corner, you'll probably see it says localhost UID equals 2. Next one is localhost UID 3. So that number 3 is this number here. Okay, so now that we know who we're dealing with, we get to make some more information. So we'll need a new page, new PHP, ed.php. Okay, so that matches this guy here. We'll go into here. What we want is we will take this stuff, which is there, close the PHP off. Now, remember, we actually are sending something over, and this is UID. So I'm going to make $ student ID equals $ get UID. Okay, so just to check to make sure it works, we echo out student ID. Okay, so always check on everything. Okay, so let's go back to index, we go to update, and that should come back with a 3. Excellent. Perfect, just what I want. Alright, so now that I know the correct UID is coming out, now from here, what I want to do is I want to populate a form. Okay, so when I went to my add, I'm going to steal this form because it makes sense. Alright, and we will put that into an echo here, like so. Now, this isn't really a submit, this is going to be an update, so we'll just change that to update. Okay. And what we need to do is we now need to pull out the first name and the last name. So let's do this a different way. What we've got here, so we've got UID here, we're going to add fname equals $fname and lname equals $lname. Let's save that, come back over to here, we can go $fname equals $get fname. So that's the first name. $lname equals $get lname to here. Let's save that. Let's check to make sure it works. So we're updating. We'll pick on Scott Summers. And now let's have a look up here. So I've got my UID coming through, I've got my name and my last name. Excellent, there's my form. So in here, we want to put into this field. So we go value, this is why we do it inside PHP, equals double quotes, because that's where it should be. Now we go single quote, dot dot single quote, $fname. Just to speed up, we copy that, paste that here, and do that for lname. And let's just change this to update. Save. Right, so when we click on the form submit here, it's going to go to a new page called update. So let's check to make sure it works. Index, update, Summers, Scott Summers. Excellent. That's good. We can hide that line off with a comment because we know that works. Now, what this means is when this form loads up, they can change the stuff in here. And then they hit the update button and it would go in and change it on the database. So same type of deal. Let's jump into here. New PHP, update.php. Let's put that into there. Okay. So what we want to do is okay, so we want to get this information that's going to be posted, but we also need to hand over the student ID. So what we're going to do is here on our action, we're going to add this little bit of code that gives the UID being the student ID. Okay, so now that will link it back to the database information, and this can be whatever it gets changed to. Okay, so let's save that, and we will take this information, go to our update. Oh, I've already posted it there. How cool is that? Okay, repaste it. Close off the PHP. Now, fname and lname are being posted. So, this isn't a get, this is a post. This is a post. And finally, inside here, we put in this code. So we want to update the students, and we want to change that to $field $data where UID equals UID. Okay, so let's put in a comment. This is the update code right below us. Okay, and that is actually student ID, which is this guy here. Now we need to run a quick check. Alright, So let's add this into this bit here as well. Doink, like that. Okay, and we're just going to change that to FN and LN. Okay, and then from here we're going to say FN equals also underscore get. Works better if you use the underscore. Get FN and $sign LN is sign underscore get LN. Okay, so before we run this code and check, let's comment it out. Okay, commenting is really, really good. And what we want to do is we want to echo all this stuff out. Echo, paste that. And we'll put a dot, break that, dot, into there. So this is our FN that comes in. This is our LN that comes in. Let's put this line in. That'll be the F name. That'll be the last name that we put in. Okay. So this part here, I'll put a get. So we know that that's the get. And from here, this will be the post information. Okay? Right, let's run that and see if it works. So let's go back to here. We go update. We'll pick on Scott Summers, and we'll change his last name to McCoy. Okay, so now when I hit the update, that should come through and tell me that Scott Summers is my original details, and my new information is Scott McCoy. Excellent. So from here, let's jump into here. Now, this is where we use our if stuff. So if $, first name equals $FN, okay, then $, let's see, so if first name equals first name, then we don't actually want to change anything. So let's change it to not. So if $ first name does not equal first name, then $ field equals first name. Okay? If $ L name does not equal $LN, then $ field equals last name. Works better with an L. L. Okay? But, now, if we keep it like that, that can't run twice. So what we do is we put this as its own little process this way. And then we just copy and paste. Okay? And let's see. That won't actually be data. Set. What have we got? Set field equals data. Okay. Update students. Set field equals last name. Right, so I don't actually want to change it. So let's do it this way. So if it goes update the students database, set first name where the UID equals the student ID. I do need that. Set field equals $FN. And down here, because this is our last name, set field equals $L name. Right, so that should modify our last name, our first name and our last name. Okay, let's give this a whirl. It's all saved. Jump in, update, edit. So let's change this to grey. Update. Guess not. Line 39, I missed a bracket. Line 39. Yep, right about there. Okay. Let's go back and try it again. Back to the index page. Update. Edit. Grey. Update. That's done that. So if we go back to here and I go update, I should have a Scott Grey. Now, if I change that to a Hank McCoy and hit update. Okay, Scott Grey, Hank McCoy. Let's have a look. I now have a new student called Hank McCoy. Excellent. So we've taken that into consideration. So finally, we are up to deleting stuff. Not quite as hard as it was before. Okay. So let's go into taking this. Maybe not all that. Let's take the read. Pretty much we want all of that to start with. Okay. Jump to delete. Okay. So this is accessing the database. This is pulling all this information out here. Okay, and just like we did with the edit stuff, okay, let's grab this last part. Might as well take the spacing as well. Go into delete. Put that into there. Tweak, 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 tweak. And go delete. And this, well, we don't really care what the username or the first name or the last name is, because that's not unique enough. But the ID, on the other hand, the UID that we collect, right, which is this part here, that is critical. And we shall call this page del. Okay, so let's check to make sure that bit works. Delete should now give me a list of students and the delete option. Check in the bottom left hand corner, UID equals 3, 2 and 1. Excellent. So we're now accessing the data out of the database. I need a new page. So here, right click, new PHP, and this is del.php. Paste. Well, I only wanted to get rid of that part to here. Okay, so we don't need to read, so we can get rid of all of this stuff here. Okay, but we do want to get $UID is a sign $_ get UID. Okay, and we want to see that came out. So let's do this bit first. Tab that out so it's a bit more readable. Jump to here, index, delete, Hank McCoy. Number 3. Perfect. UID went from there to here. Good. Now, let's delete. We use this code. Okay? So, we are deleting from the students table where the UID is the same as $UID. Okay? And once that's done, we still have our link there to go. So, we'll save that. Jump back to here. Delete. Okay, we will get rid of Fred L name. So I hit delete there. Told me what the UID was. Go back to index. Now let's do a read. And Fred L name is no longer there. There we go. That is our 4 stages. That is our creation, reading, updating and deleting from PHP to a MySQL database. That should help someone. Enjoy.